onto our Quran section, inshallah. Time seems to be flying away. Surah 15. Okay. I can't remember. Did I give an introduction to the surah last week?
No, Maulana.
You said it's too
Too
volatile
short.
too. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Surah 15. I'm not going to mention too many introductory stuff. Surah 15 is it's a Meccan surah. Um, you perhaps would have come across before that the Meccan surah oftentimes focus on matters pertaining to belief. Um, they they are worldview shaping surah more than uh, more than giving directives in terms of what to do. They teach us the Islamic paradigm, the way of viewing the world. They teach us what to believe. They teach us matters of the unseen. They teach us about concerns of the hereafter. They teach us about that worldview becomes entrenched in one's heart and mind, that it becomes easy to carry out the commands. Um, just let me know if I'm breaking up at any point in time. Is my sound still okay?
You did break up, Maulana, but you're back now.
Okay. So, so the Meccan Surah from that perspective are extremely important. They shape our worldview, and then that paves the way to us, implementing whichever actions come. And that's why we'll know from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He spent about 53 years in Mecca, right? The first 40 years, he had not yet received prophethood. He then received his prophethood at about the age of 40, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thereafter, he preached in Mecca. He conveyed the message to people whilst receiving revelation in Mecca for 13 years. Thereafter, he migrated to Medina, right? And then he spent about another 10 years in Medina, um, establishing the Muslim community and continuing with the mission of the Meccan period of Islam. It's very salient for anybody that that reads the Seerah and reads the Quran and understands the Quran in light of that in the Meccan period there was no laws, pretty much no laws. Even Salah, with all its formal forms and times and whatever, that wasn't legislated in Mecca. Right? There wasn't much structured law at all. But the focus was greatly on worldview shaping, belief, knowing you, knowing Allah, knowing the world, knowing shaitan, knowing the next life, all of those things. That's extremely important to know about the Meccan period of the Quran, because that will actually enable us to understand these Meccan surah. Right? This is a Meccan surah. There's a number of features to Meccan surah that I'm not going to cover now, but we'll talk about that in due time, inshallah. When I say Meccan, what do I mean when I say a Meccan surah? Can somebody tell me?
Revealed before
Revealed in
before the
Makkah.
Hijrah.
Right, that's a better one. Not exactly revealed in Mecca, but revealed before the Hijrah. And Medinan revealed after the Hijrah. Right, so this is the surah revealed before the Hijrah. And I'm just going to get right into it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." I seek protection in Allah from Satan the curse. That's not part of the surah. We just make ta'awudh when we recite Quran. Um, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That's part of the surah according to the Shafi school. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the especially merciful. And we discussed that before. Allah then says, "Wattini waz-zaytuni." Now, can anybody tell me what that wow at the beginning of this at the surah means?
Wow of Qasam.
Wow of qasam, right? So it means Allah's taking an oath by something. And why does Allah take an oath? There can be a number of reasons to take an oath. You can take an oath to assure somebody that you're going to do something in the future. But one of the features of the oath in the Arabic language, and I think it's common in English as well, is that one can take an oath as well just to um, affirm something or to emphasize something. So, for example, in Cape Town, what do they say? So, Wallahi, Billah, Quran, I did that. It's a form of a summa, right? It's an oath essentially. Wallahi, Billahi, Tallahi, all forms of qasam. Wallahi, I did that. I am I am emphasizing something that already happened, as opposed to saying, you know, Wallahi, I will do that. Then what you are doing is you're taking the qasam to inspire confidence in the promise that you are making. So here what we have is Allah is taking qasam to emphasize something. Right. So when you have this structure in the Quran, there's a number of components to it. You have the harf that indicates that the qasam is being taken. Here we have, what harf is that? Yeah, that harf is wow. Wow. Tell me what you know about the wow when it's wow al qasam. What kind of word is it?
Harful
Harful
jar.
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 Right, it's a harful jar. Good. It's a harful jar, as opposed to a normal wow when it just means and, or when it just comes at the beginning of a sentence. It doesn't really affect the hal of anything. Whereas when it comes for qasam, it does affect the hal. Right. So that's important. Then we have yeah, that's important. Why? Because that tells you why the next word is watini, and we have wazaituni because of the wawul qasam. Right. Okay, I will still explain to you the components of this kind of discourse. You will have the harf that tells you that the qasam is being taken. Then you will have the muqsam bihi, the thing by which the oath is taken. The thing by which the oath is taken. And then you will have the muqsam alayhi, the actual oath that is being taken. So three components we have there, right? We have the qasam, or rather the harful qasam, the letter that is showing me that the qasam is being taken, like wa in wallahi, or the bi in billahi, or the ta in tallahi, right? Those are the letters that show me that the qasam is being taken. Then I have the thing by which the qasam is being taken. For example, I say, by Allah. I'm taking a qasam by Allah. But why am I saying by Allah what? By Allah, my name is Zakariyya. The actual qasam that I'm taking is that my name is Zakariyya. So we have three components. The harf, the muqsam bihi, and the muqsam alayhi. Now, we have some principles when we understand this in the Quran. Number one is that the muqsam bihi will always be something of virtue and value. Right? The muqsam bihi, the thing by which the oath is taken, will always be something of value and virtue. So when Allah takes a qasam by something, then we know that to be a noble or virtuous thing. Right? Allah never takes a qasam by something that is futile or insignificant. And similarly, we wouldn't take a qasam by something that's insignificant, because then the point that you are emphasizing, in fact, won't be emphasized. That would be a form of showing the insignificance of what you're saying. For example, imagine I must say, I swear by a speck of dust that's lying on the floor here that I did something. You think that speck of dust on the floor has no value to you. Therefore, what you are saying must have no value. Right? Rather, when we take an oath, we'd say, what, I swear on my mother's life, or I swear by Allah. In fact, generally, we should only if we take a qasam, then it should only be by Allah, and it shouldn't be in trivial matters that such that we take Allah's name in vain. So the muqsam bi is always something of significance and nobility and value. Then also, there is, so that's the first principle that we have in interpreting these passages of qasam in the Quran. Another principle that we have is that there is always a type of wifaq, or a type of a concordance or agreement between the thing by which the oath is taken and the actual oath that is being taken. There is some type of agreement between them. For example, in the surah, وَالطُّورِ وَكِتَابٍ مَسْطُورٍ فِي رَقٍّ مَنْشُورٍ وَالْبَيْتِ الْمَعْمُورِ وَالسَّقْفِ الْمَرْفُوعِ وَالْبَحْرِ الْمَسْجُورِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking a qasam by things that indicate to a certain group of people that were punished. And then the oath that he takes is, indeed, the punishment of your Lord will come to pass. So you see that in the qasam, there is an allusion to punishment, and then the actual qasam is about punishment. So that's another principle that we have when we understand these oaths in the Quran. Right. So what oaths does Allah take here at the beginning of the surah? I'm just going to maybe focus on the oaths today. What does Allah take oaths by? What teeni? What's a teen? What does teen mean? If you don't want to say verbal, you can comment. What teen? What does it mean? A fig. Okay. What's zaytun?
Olive.
Olive. So what teeni? By the fig and the olive. Right. Okay. Before I interpret, yes.
Is the second waw over there a harful jar, or is it a and waw?
It's an and waw.
Okay.
But remember, because it's connecting you to the first word, which was preceded by a harful jar, it's also going to be in jar.
Okay. Shukran.
Because the word that comes after the waw al-atf has the same hal as the word that it is connected to. Right. So what teeni was zaytun? By the fig and the olive. And then what comes next? وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. This again is a mudaf ilayh construction. And this at sinin is again a stubborn word. It's one of those words that don't like to get a kasra. So what we have here? Tur Sinin is the Mount Sinai. And the last one is وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينِ. What does that mean? And this safe city. Okay, so I'm going to go through those oaths again quickly. What's our time like? 21 already, sorry. Okay, I'm just going to go through those 4 oaths again. By the fig and the olive, and the Mount Sinai, and this secure, safe city. 4 oaths.
Maulana, so the waws in verse 2 and 3 are not the qasams, they ends.
They all ends, right? Connecting you to the first qasam. By the fig
Okay.
and the olive and the Mount Sinai and this safe city. When you just look at it at first glance, doesn't it seem like a random collection of things? By a fig and an olive and the Sinai mountain and this safe city, referring to Makkah. It could seem like very strange things to take an oath by, number one. Second thing is, it seems like a random assortment of things, isn't it? But one of the features of the Quran is this, especially of the Makkan surah. They have short verses that make you think. They capture your attention like that. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala often does. He has devices that capture your attention such that when he actually gives you the message that he wants to give you, the message is not lost. Sometimes, this is a feature of good articulation as well. I may get into a speech and I make a very important point, but because I just said it nonchalantly, it falls on deaf ears. People miss the point. But if I have a build up to what I want to say, it naturally captures the attention, makes people think about what I'm saying, and then, readies them to hear the important message that I want to say. And so this is what Allah is doing here. You know, Rasulullah is claiming that he's reciting to you a revelation. Revelation from Allah can't be random and mixed up. No ways. So what the Mufassirin have done is they say they have thought about these things. And they say that the teen refers to a place that was prominent for figs. And they say that refers to the Mount Judi, which was the mountain where Nuh alayhi salam settled. Allah says in the Quran, وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِيِّ وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Right? And then they say the olive refers to the land of Palestine. Tur Sinin refers to the land in which Musa alayhi salam received his revelation. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ refers to the land of Mecca wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam received his revelation. So that's one interpretation, right? Others say
Maulana,
that
but
no,
how do they get the mountain where Nuh settled from a fig? Because Mount Sinai is actually a place, but how do you get?
okay,
from
so
a
in
fig?
Arabic, there's a principle that says that, or there was a norm in Arabic that a place would oftentimes get the name of the crop that is prevalent there, or of whatever is prevalent there. So Mount Judi is known to have abundance of figs, just as Palestine is known to have abundance of olives.
Okay,
And
that
so,
makes sense.
yeah, so people would actually call that place the place of the fig, or the place of the olives in Arabic. However, there's difference of opinion in the tafsir of this, and I'll get to that inshallah next week. What I wanted you to do is just think about those aspects that relate to the qasam and those principles that I mentioned today. Why I took the time to mention them is this. In the Makkah Surah, you are often going to come across these phenomena. You must know how to understand them, right? Using those principles of tafsir. So it's not just about knowing the tafsir, but also knowing what the principles of tafsir. But what I want you to do for me is this. Think about the interpretation that I gave you now of Watini, Wazaytuni, Waturi Sinin, Wahad al Balad al Amin. Those are all the things by which the oath is taken. The actual oath that is taken is that Allah says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. I'm not going to give you the translation of that. What I want you to do for homework is go read a translation of that verse. Then just try and think for me what the connection is between all of these things. Right? That's for homework, inshallah. Some tadabbur and tafakkur on these ayat of the Quran, inshallah. We'll end there for now, and I will see you guys next week, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The class is officially completed, but if anybody would like to stay, because our time is also up, but if anybody would like to ask any questions, I'll wait, inshallah. Right, so
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Maulana. Assalamu alaikum. Have a good Sunday.
Wa iyaakum, you as well.
And to everyone else in the chat. Salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Salam. Shukran, Maulana.
Fine.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
How do we identify the harful jar versus the wow of the and? Because if you look at what Turi seen in, it's also followed by the word is also in jar. So how do I identify if it's a wow of qasam and just a normal and wow?
Okay. Usually, that would be very easy to distinguish, right? Because the wow that means and doesn't affect the word that comes after it. Rather, it's just going to have the same hal as every word in the list. All right? Yeah. Whether you understand each wow as a wow al-qasam, or you understand it as a string of or, the first one is a wow al-qasam and each one after that is just an and, it's not going to make a difference. Because if I'm saying I'm attaching each word to the first qasam, that means I'm saying I'm taking an oath by the fig, and I'm taking an oath by the olive, and I'm taking an oath by the Mount Sinai, and I'm taking an oath by this safe city. So those ands actually just perpetuate the meaning of the qasam at the beginning. But in a normal circumstance, you would differentiate by the fact that the waw al-qasam affects the word after it by putting it into jar, and the waw al-atf doesn't do that. That's the normal way. Other than that, it's going to be down to context and interpretation. That's the only way that you can actually understand it.
Okay, Jazakallah Maulana, that answers the question.
Afwan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Because obviously that's the Arabic from Allah, right?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا جزاك الله.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa iyak. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
السلام عليكم مولانا.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. It seems like we're done now then, inshallah. I will then leave now, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.